are the New York Knicks. I'm back in New York. Ooh. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. But this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 578, part of Dash Radio. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
Jay, the craziest thing happened.
Okay, what is that?
Okay, so I'm like, are you sitting down?
I'm sitting down.
Okay, do you need to take heart medication? Because this might burst your heart.
I'll take a sip of whiskey instead.
Okay. So there was a major rumor about a player coming to the Knicks, and then he came to the Knicks.
That is a first, since we've been doing the show at least.
Well, I mean, Melo came to the Knicks, but really, there's always rumors, and then they never come to the Knicks. We got Brunson. I'm happy.
I am too. It was a good signing. So we got him for 4 years. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's going to ask for a trade after one.
Our point guard rotation now is Jalen Brunson, which maybe a little bit of an overpay. Whatever you want to say about him, consensus above average point guard, right?
Yes.
We got him. We got IQ, which a lot of people have faith in that maybe he could be really good also. And he had some flashes last year. We have in theory, a healthy Derrick Rose. That's a pretty solid point guard combination. 3 guys who can actually play point guard, with one guy being an above average point guard, another guy being a very solid vet who has, anytime he's been healthy, has been very good for the Knicks, and IQ, who's a promising young player. Plus Deuce McBride also, and some dude in Europe. Is this the best? When is the last time the Knicks point guard situation looked this good?
Never. Not since I started watching the Knicks. Because, I mean, even like, what was the best rotation since we started watching? Charlie Ward and Chris Childs?
Oh, God. I would say, like, there was Thin Felton, who looked good. I don't remember
who was his backup.
I don't remember who his backup was.
Even when the Knicks had an okay point guard, like, there was no backup.
Jeremy Lin for a half hour. Yeah, you're right. There's no backup. There was never there was no depth at the position.
Like, I don't remember who Marbury's backup was.
It
was probably garbage. I mean, those teams won like 17 games. So
I don't remember who the backups were the last couple of years. It really is like, I mean, we were starting guys like Elfrid. We made our run in the playoffs when we got to the Hawks, whatever, our 4th seed. Elfrid Payton, who currently on this team, like, if you put Elfrid Payton on the roster, do you know where he slots in as far as depth?
The 5th?
No, he's cut. He's on the team. You wouldn't put him on the team. God damn it, Jay.
True.
He doesn't even make the goddamn roster.
Yeah.
That's how good this point guard depth is. So what do you think what's your thoughts on how Brunson's going to make this team better, besides obviously giving us above average point guard play?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Jay Shady. Yeah, Trevor Keels.
Oh, yes. What about Trevor? Oh, because Keels is the you know what? So there was some theory that Keels was drafted. He was the 2nd round pick because Dallas wanted him, and he was going to be part of a package for Brunson. But it looks like there's no pack there. They said I guess the deal's not final in the sense of like there could still be a sign and trade with Dallas that could still be worked out.
That's
anyway,
more of a favor to Dallas, I think. And now that Dallas is accusing the Knicks of tampering, they're probably just going to be like, no, we'll just take Brunson and not give you anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, the theory was that maybe the Knicks would give him Fournier to get off his contract, and it could be a win for Dallas also.
Yeah, as the Knicks franchise leader and 3-pointers in a season, a guy we just want to give away for no reason.
No, I mean only if you want that cap space, but that's it. If the Knicks will take Fournier off the bench, I think his role is so much. So what is this? What do you think of the starting unit right now? So the starting unit right now, we agree it's Brunson definitely, obviously. RJ, I'm gonna just accept Julius is here. Julius is not going anywhere, right?
I don't think so. The Shadows said, "Can the other rumor of offloading Randall happen?"
Yeah, if Julius could be the sign and trade, I'd be very happy. But it looks like Randall's going to be here.
Honestly, not much is going to happen until people find out what's happening with Durant. There is a couple teams that could probably use a power forward, but everyone's going to wait on Durant.
Yes, Durant has paused. It is one of those things where free agency would be kind of farther along if not for Durant being like. By the way, are we? Do you want to spend the rest of the show laughing about Durant?
I mean, it's really, really funny. He says he wants to get traded to a team with 2 All-Stars. He's on a team with 2 All-Stars. There's no team with 2 All-Stars who's going to make a trade package without giving up one of the All-Stars.
I think they should trade him to a team in China and just force him to play there.
I mean, honestly, if he's going to be like this, I would try and trade him to like the most undesirable location.
Well, the problem is that the idea that the other team's not going to want to trade for him because they know Durant will ask out. Do you want to save the Durant stuff till last week for through the Knicks?
Sure.
Okay. So right now the starting lineup: Brunson, Randle, RJ, Mitch. Mitch is back, by the way, also. And then the question really is it Evan Fournier or Grimes? Those seem like the 2 natural guys you would consider for the 5th spot.
Right. I think Grimes makes more sense because he's a better defender, and then you have because Randle is probably not a great defender, Brunson's not great, so putting Grimes out there makes more sense than having a third not positive defender.
Right, I think Randle, if he really makes the effort, he can play good defense. I don't know if Fournier can.
Right. But my only concern, and it's not even between Grimes and Fournier, it's outside shooting.
Really? I mean, in the sense of, Grimes is also a good 3-point shooter, so that helps.
Yeah.
So the really real question is, RJ had a season where he shot 40%. Last year, obviously, he was lower. And Randle had a season where he shot 40%, and last year, obviously, he was much lower. If they can both shoot like 35%, the outside shooting isn't so bad.
True. I just don't know if those were like fluke seasons or they can pull that off for a while. It could be really bad or it could be okay. Maybe they shoot better with an actual point guard.
So the other idea, free agent signing Isaiah Hartenstein, is a little more. He can shoot like 10, 15 feet. He did shoot some threes last year at a decent percentage, even though he shot very few a game. He is a little more of a stretch than Mitch is. Yeah. He would space the floor a little better.
So, since last episode, the Knicks have traded Alec Burks, which was one of the other pretty good shooters on the team.
I think that was before last episode, but yeah.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, Burks off this team.
Noel.
Kemba's off the team. Noel's off the team. All the vets you didn't want the Knicks to play are off the team, except for Randle. I would think Grimes would be in the starting lineup. Either way, so Brunson really will make everyone better on the floor. He is the kind of point guard who he can penetrate. He looks to penetrate. He looks to set guys up. He's also a really efficient 2-point shooter, which the Knicks were one of the worst 2-point shooting teams in the NBA. So getting a guy like Brunson who would actually be efficient from 2 is a huge benefit. Absolutely.
And you know what? I really like their signing of Isaiah Hartenstein too.
Love it. I love the sign. I for a little bit I was like, why are they doing this? They could save money. My understanding also, I wanted to save money until I realized all the money for Mitch is over the cap, so they couldn't really save. They weren't saving the Mitch money. Like if they used it on a Mitch, the money wasn't going to be spent. Isaiah Hartenstein, as much as like Sims, Hartenstein sounds more interesting as a center.
Mm-hmm.
His defense is really good. He can shoot from more like 10 to 15 feet away pretty consistently. He's actually a really good passer.
Yeah, he's a good defender. He's a good passer. It's really, it seems like it's just an upgrade over Noel, and he hasn't had an injury history. So
I was listening to the Bill.
The Knicks signed 2 guys, and we're happy with both. When was the last time that happened?
Yeah, they both look like really good signs. they look like such good signings that Bill Simmons said they were good signings. He's totally a fan of Brunson, and it was great when he was doing his recap of the draft. He was like, free agency. He's like, who's a really good under the radar free agent is Isaiah Hartenstein. He was going on and on about this guy, and then and I forget who was the co-host that day or who was the guest. The guest is like, I think he actually signed with the Knicks, and Simmons didn't even know that when he was giving him praise, which I really like that. Not that he'd be praising Knicks anything but Knicks do anyway.
Right.
But I was a fan of that. I was like, oh, we're getting some love from Bill Simmons.
Yeah, that's a infrequent occurrence.
I mean, with this team, if you want to be the most optimistic about it, first of all, part of the issue with Randle is that he becomes kind of the ball, just too ball dominant. He calls for the ball at the 3-point line. He tries to create the offense. You would have to think with Brunson, Randle is going to defer to Brunson to run the offense, right?
I would really, really hope so.
I wonder, or I guess I don't know, do you think Randle will have a lot of, will he just stand there waiting for the ball? Like, if he doesn't have the ball, will he just stand there, or will there be a lot of off-the-ball action?
I don't know. Like, the entire season hinges on how, either if they move Randle or if he stays, how he acts when he's on the court. It's really, like, I'm not even concerned about RJ making a leap or Grimes or McBride. Like, I'm just concerned about how Randle performs.
Right. I feel like he has to be either he's out by the 3-point line waiting to shoot a three, obviously, or moving without the ball so Brunson can set him up. And he's moving. You get him the ball moving. Randle's a hard individual to stop. I mean, he's a huge individual. Yeah. If you can basically get rid of some of his ISO because you have a guy actually setting him up, that will be very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Plus now you have a guy. I mean, Mitch will have someone to really feed him lobs, which will be really helpful.
Yeah, I'm really I don't know how it's going to work. When you have Randle, you're also basically saying Obi's capped at like 15 minutes a game, and Cam is getting no minutes. So
it's a long season. They'll find minutes for everyone. Guys will be injured, but yeah. So you're right. Obi, IQ, and Cam's minutes will be a little more. I mean, IQ will have the most minutes of those three, but all those minutes will be a little more limited with this team.
Yeah. I'm not really worried about IQ too much. I mean,
he's gonna be with the second unit. There's a good chance it'll be him and Rose starting with the second unit, so it probably won't be an issue with him getting minutes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got him, Rose, and either Fournier or Grimes. But I guess one of those could play the three.
Yeah, I mean, one of those could play the three. They could mix and match a little bit. Also, Fournier, when he's hot, you'll leave him out there. When he's not so hot, you'll take him off the court.
That leaves no minutes for Cam.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. A lot of stuff works itself out, though, because guys get injured and you need depth. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, bank on Rose staying healthy all season.
Also, if Cam just plays well in practice, Tibbs will get him minutes, and he can earn minutes from there. I mean, I know people give Tibbs crap, but if you play well, you get more minutes. It hasn't been it's a little of a struggle when you have Obi versus Randle, but in every other position, when the guys have played well, they've gotten more minutes.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, people say, he should have played IQ a lot more earlier, but he started off the season really bad, and once he started playing good, he earned the minutes.
Yeah, for the most part, IQ got minutes throughout the season. I mean, and he also did struggle. He definitely struggled for a little time. Grimes, as a rookie, earned a lot of respect from Tibbs and got a lot of minutes. Mm-hmm. Deuce didn't get as many minutes, but in fairness, as much as I like Deuce, he played good defense. His offense really wasn't very good for the Knicks.
Right.
Anyway, I'd rather have a lot of depth with quality guys missing out on minutes as opposed to having no depth whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good problem to have.
I mean, are you sold on Cam being good also?
Not as much as Knicks Twitter is. It seems like everybody thinks there's an all-star buried on the bench right now, which, I mean, he didn't look great when he played for the Knicks, but on the other hand, he hardly played. So I feel like I haven't seen enough of him. I didn't see any of him on the Hawks, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I didn't watch him too much on the Hawks. On the Knicks, he had moments where he had some moves. You're like, wow, because at first, I thought he was just like a guy who shots a lot of threes and like a 3-and-D guy. But you watch him, he's got moves. There's like something there where you're like, this guy, he's like one of those Mr. Potential players. But you'd think in his time in the Hawks that Mr. Potential would have gotten like, you would think it would have come out there. It's a well-run team. He was frustrated that he had Trey dominated the ball, but I know he got 20 minutes a game, and then he had no issue getting minutes he got enough minutes with the Hawks. He'll get some minutes with the Knicks. It's the least of our problems, really, Cam getting minutes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think they really need to move Randle though. Then you got.
Yeah, and it's not happening, Jay. We got to move on. I 100% think they need to move Randle. I would love if they move Randle. I would love if there's a sign and trade where I would love with Randle's the sign and trade guy with for Brunson, but it doesn't seem like they're moving him. So we have to just move on from this.
I don't know. I'm not totally convinced they're not going to.
Do you remember when they took Randle to the playoff game to watch the Mavericks play, where they basically said, "Do you want to play with this guy Brunson?" Why did they take him to the game? They took him to the game because they think he's still going to be here.
What if they took him to the game and they're like, "Hey, this is a pretty nice stadium, isn't it? How would you like to play here 41 games a season?"
Randle's like, "I got to go to the bathroom." We pull over the car. They're like, yeah, get out of the car. And they just drive away with him.
Right. I mean, maybe they were just hyping up Luka the whole time.
I mean, maybe there'll be a move when Rose just comes out of nowhere and makes a move. But I, at this point, would be shocked if Randle's not on the Knicks next year. And I completely agree with you. I think the team looks better with Obi at power forward. I think just the offense flows better. It's faster. It's more fun. I think they really want to see how Randle looks with an actual point guard. And it's very fair to say Randle has had 2 years or 3 years without a real point guard. It's very fair to say, why don't we see how he looks with a point guard? Maybe he'll look better.
It is. It is fair to say. Also, after Porzingis and now Brunson, Dallas is probably like, we're done with you guys.
You think? There's rumors that there's tampering charges that are going to be filed against the Knicks. I don't know how you can say tampering. You're allowed to speak to your dad. Right. Your agent's allowed to speak to his dad. I don't see where there's tampering whatsoever. By the way, I've heard, rumor has it, the next All-Star that's disgruntled, Leon Rose is going to adopt and make his son.
So, yeah, the Knicks were tampering, but the other 20 guys who signed contracts at 6:01 on Thursday didn't tamper. It's just amazing how quickly they were able to negotiate and sign everything within 1 minute.
Right. It's one thing if the Knicks negotiate with him during the playoffs or the regular season. It's another thing if they just, when the season was over, they started talking to him like every other team does anyway.
I mean, it's just amazing that all these guys were able to do it without tampering.
Yeah, you're right. Like, if you're going to file charges against us, then anyone files that announced that had made an announcement at 6:01, explain to us how you had this long conversation in 1 minute.
Honestly, the fact that there's any tampering after Miami with the Heatles, like they had one guy on their entire roster just in case 3 max free agents wanted to come there, and they didn't get in trouble for tampering.
The Knicks cleared an entire roster for LeBron James, and no one came.
Yeah, they should have. Yeah, but I mean that Miami thing was like that was insane. Like they should have just erased tampering rules after that, because that was.
You're right. The whole thing is kind of stupid because also like they'll say like the players, LeBron, Bosh, and Wade talked. That's totally legit. Just the team. So Wade goes back to Pat Riley and goes, "Hey, I don't think we need players in this roster. You want me to get rid of the players in the roster? Yes, trust me. I can't tell you why. Just trust me. We haven't tampered."
How many players? Oh, I don't know. Get rid of like 13 of them.
Here's the money we need. And by the way, if you could put these names on the back of a uniform, just saying. But the Knicks, I hate what they did with the draft situation. I'm not going to change my mind about that. I'd like Randle off the team, but this team should be interesting. I don't know where they're going, but it should be a playoff team. Like there's no question it should be a playoff team, right?
Should be. I mean, at the lower end, but yes. By the way, it's all on Randle.
You know that the draft this year is supposed to be historic. For the top 3 guys are supposed to be like generational talents. This one guy, Wembenyama, I don't know if you've watched him.
A little bit.
But I think he's 100. I think he's like 50 feet tall. And he just drops the ball into the basket. He's so tall.
Yeah.
He's 7'4", highly athletic.
I think they said his reach is 9 feet 7 inches. So
What the hell?
So literally, he stands on his tippy toes and he could dunk.
I'd be worried about drafting a guy that tall just for injuries, but I would draft him in a heartbeat. But whatever. The Knicks will be a fun team this year, and I'm excited to see. I like the idea that we have. If any Mitch, I was fine with bringing Mitch back. We went over the cap to get him. Makes sense enough. Well, here's a question for all the guys we brought back. Brunson. Do you think we've seen what Brunson is, or will he get better? Brunson's 25 years old. When Doncic was on the floor, I think he averaged about 22 points a game, 7 assists. And obviously, when Doncic was on the floor, he still was a very effective and helpful player. Is Brunson at his peak? Do you think he's getting better? Where is he going?
He could definitely get better. He's only 25. His numbers without Doncic were better.
Yeah.
Significantly better. Other than his 3-point shooting, every other number was significantly better. So there's definitely another level to be reached, and I think that's what the Knicks are banking on.
Yeah, and it's also nice that, not that it really matters, but it's nice that he was a diehard Knicks fan growing up. So it's kind of cool that this is his dream to be the Knicks point guard.
Yeah.
Okay, Mitch. Is Mitch at his peak? Does he get better? What are we getting from Mitch for the next 4 years?
I think that's another banking on him improving. He has almost no offense, so other than catching lobs. So
yeah,
it would be pretty easy to improve on that.
He's very, very good at catching lobs and putting and offensive rebounding. Last year, he really was screwed in the offseason by the broken foot, where he put on he did a lot of strength training in the offseason, so he put on a lot of weight and really was not able to work on his game because of the broken foot. I hope and expect this new season you'll see Mitch have taken some improvement from the offseason because now he has 2 legs to run on all offseason.
Yeah, 1 or 2 post moves and maybe a mid-range shot, and he's worth his contract.
And also, I like that. So I like that. First of all, Isaiah Hartenstein is a very solid backup who can play major minutes. And if anything happens to Hartenstein, or if anything happens to their centers, I like your third center. As much as I love Taj, I like your third center being Sims.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is a fun team. Do you want to make fun of the Nets now? Do you remember back when, Jay? It was 2019, a time when a pandemic. What's a pandemic? No one even thought about those things. No one wore masks. It was a crazy time. And a certain team from Brooklyn said they had won New York. They owned New York. They were the only team Kevin Durant had said, I went to Brooklyn because Brooklyn is relevant. The Knicks are not cool. Jay, how is that working out for Brooklyn?
Yes, Rob. Cutting down the nets. Set the clock.
Cutting down the nets. Do you want to set the clock?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I'll do it right here. Okay. We have 2 minutes to rip on the Knicks. I'm sorry, the Nets. Sorry. And go, Jay.
So Kyrie requested a trade. Durant requested a trade. Then
Kyrie opted in, and they were like, everything's fine. And Durant's like, no, I want a trade. And Kyrie's like, yeah, what are you going to do with me, huh?
So Shams reported that the only team interested in Kyrie is the Lakers, and the Nets don't want Westbrook.
Yeah, it's going to work. You know what's great? 2 of the main guys requested a trade, and the third guy, their third star, didn't show up to play basketball last year. That's a winning organization. You know what the good thing though is? I mentioned the Wembenyama. He is a generational talent. The top 3 guys in the draft next year are going to be really awesome. And the Nets, if they're really bad this year, you know what? The Rockets get their pick. So that sucks for the Nets also.
I kind of hope they do make a trade because if they don't make a trade, their lineup is Irving, Harris, Durant, Simmons, Claxton with Mills, Curry, O'Neal, and TJ Warren now on the bench. That's a really good team. So,
you know what's great? How dysfunctional of an organization is the team's GM Sean Marks makes trades for a guy Royce O'Neal with a 1st-round pick. He said, "I got Sean, I got him," and you're like, "Hey, before you trade for the guy, Durant wants a trade. He's going to leave. Wait, I already did the trade for Royce O'Neal. Oh, well. The team owner didn't tell the team GM not to do the trade.
Right.
Royce O'Neal. I hope Royce O'Neal requests a trade.
That'd be funny if just everybody requested a trade.
Everyone's just like, I don't want to play here. I was joking that the major announcement's going to be Brooklyn has traded the Nets to Staten Island. The Nets twice have pulled off historic disasters with building a super team.
So what happens if Ben Simmons still gets the "I'm so scared my back hurts" thing next year?
Well, he might as well. I mean, what's the point of him coming to play now? His friends aren't going to play. I mean, there's no Durant and no Kyrie. Why even show up?
He posted a picture of himself like sneering and said feeling great. How many times did he do that last season?
So apparently the rule is if you trade for a guy on a rookie max extension, you cannot trade for a second guy on a rookie max extension. Mm-hmm. Meaning a lot of the players that they'd want in a Durant trade, like Devin Booker, or you cannot. Ayton. Yeah, you cannot trade from. Yeah, Ayton hasn't signed it yet, though, right? A max extension.
No.
Bam.
You know how the NBA works. Like Ayton's going to sign the contract and then say he wants a trade. That's just the way the NBA is now. And I just don't see the rumors Durant wants to play with Booker. But if I'm the Nets, I hang up unless Booker's included in a trade. So that doesn't really get much accomplished. So it looks like I lost Mark for a second.
I'm back. Back.
Mark's back. So nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. Phil writes, "What's up, guys? It's Thursday night, and I think it's official. The Knicks have just signed Brunson for 104 over the next 5. It's actually the next 4. Great news. We've been clamoring for point guard for a long time. So here are my questions. You guys touched upon this last pod. Starting lineup is R.J. Brunson, Mitch, Randle, and Fournier. Second lineup is some combo of Ovi, Rose and IQ, Sims, and Taj with Cam. Grimes, Deuce, limited for minutes, assuming no changes. How competitive is this team going to be next year? In the playoffs, competitive or not, what do you think?"
I have to say with the now we have Hartenstein, I'm going to say this team is a 43 to 46 win team. I think that's a reasonable thing to say.
So like somewhere between 5 and 8.
Yeah, maybe around 6. It's not unreasonable at all. The team has a lot of depth. They're going to be better than things that people expect.
And question number 2, Brunson's just one more piece. There is still more needed. I don't know the financials and timing of the contracts like you two do. So my questions are, A, are we tapped out for this year? Can we make any more meaningful moves? And how, if no, how and when do we make room for that third impactful player to come to the Knicks? Or could a Randle bounce back be enough? Besides Jalen owning the Knicks, I hope all is great. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah, so I mean, basically the Knicks are kind of tapped out. The only thing they can do really as far as signing guys is like the mid-level exception, which you're not going to get obviously a star. You're not going to get an impact player with the mid-level exception, but maybe I also feel like there might be a struggle for minutes with whoever you're going to sign with that mid-level exception. So I don't know if the Knicks will end up even using it. As far as adding someone else, you could always do a sign and trade. The Knicks have some big contracts, obviously Randle, Fournier. Either a player forces himself to. It's really going to be the Knicks using a bunch of first-round picks to get someone, and the guys like Fournier are going to be more the cap filler as opposed to like the guys that get it done.
Yeah, it's going to have to be that because RJ's up for an extension next year, and or like a brand new 5-year contract, and that'll be that. Then the cap is locked in for years. So
they might do that this summer. It's either this summer or next summer they'll do it. There's a good chance they might just do it this summer and lock it in. So, I mean, like, for instance, Dejounte Murray, the Hawks traded for him. That was a good trade for the Hawks. The Knicks could have beaten the package. The package was basically, 2 firsts, a pick swap, and Gallinari?
3 firsts, a pick swap, and Gallinari.
Okay, and also...
But one of the picks was the one the Knicks gave them, which was top 14 protected, I believe?
Yeah, it wasn't anything that great. So, basically, 2 good firsts, a protected and a protected first. The Knicks first are usually like just people associate chaos with the Knicks, and so the Knicks first are probably better than the Hawks first. If the Knicks wanted Dejounte Murray, they could offer basically the same package. And Gallinari was cut shortly thereafter, so he was strictly cap filler.
Yeah.
So reasonably, like, that's how it's going to be. Whether it's going to be Jonathan Murray's off the table. Let's say Donovan Mitchell, the Knicks would have to offer like 4 firsts, and that's what would get done. I don't think Donovan Mitchell makes sense, though. Do you think Donovan Mitchell makes sense at this point, Jay?
No, I don't. I mean, it's hard saying no to an all-star.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I think you need more of a knockdown shooter, or
you need this. You can't have your second guard also 6 foot tall.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work. Brunson is what, 6'1", which is in the NBA terms short. You cannot have another short guard and win the NBA.
I mean, I know the argument is that for the last 8 years, Utah has done that, but Utah has also gotten knocked out early in the playoffs almost every single year.
Yeah, I mean, like Portland, the same thing with Dame and CJ, but like at the end of the day, they suffered on defense.
Right.
Ideally, we're not going to trade 4 firsts. I mean, Mitchell's awesome, and the Knicks did it. It would be a fun team, but I don't know if it's the smartest. I feel like if anything, Brunson was a pretty big pickup. If you're thinking that Randle's going to stay, why don't you see how everyone meshes before you make another big move? That would be probably the more conservative, probably the smarter thing to do is see how Brunson fits with everyone before you make another huge move. There's no rush to make the second move.
Right. Agreed.
Um,
So Instagram questions? NY Knicks podcast on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm going to go to that in a second. I'm going to because I have this up. I have Twitter up first. Anthony writes, many people are asking for Randle to get traded, and rightfully so, but I think Brunson is the best excuse for him to be back on this team. If Randle plays well with Brunson, expect the Knicks to be active on trade talks before the deadline.
So is Randle more likely to be moved if he plays well or if he plays bad?
That's what I think he's saying, but I would assume he's only going to be moved if he plays poorly. I think if Randle plays well, he's just locked in this team.
Yeah, I think if Randle plays well, the Knicks are like, oh, we got something here. Let's see how far this team can go.
Oh, before I forget, but I want to just say this about the Nets were a goddamn joke. And it's hilarious that they did the move with the Celtics, and then they did the move to get all these guys, and they blew up in their face both times. Mm-hmm. And what first of all, the move to Kevin Durant and Kyrie, them wanting out, this could be the biggest failure in the history of the NBA. Is there a greater failure?
I
to
don't
build a
think
team
so.
like this.
Durant, Kyrie, and Harden, and they did nothing.
They made the second round. That's it.
That's really bad.
Yeah, but anyway, what the Nets should really do. I know the owner of the Nets is an avid listener of our podcast. Mm-hmm. Here's what you should do. You should tell Kevin Durant, oops, we couldn't find a trade for you. I guess you're still on the team. Go play. Mm-hmm. And then Kevin Durant could say, no, I won't report to camp. And then what you could say is, you're 34 years old. Do you want to lose your age 34 season? Don't play and just see how that goes through your legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not, you can give up a season when you're 23, 24. It's only downhill for Kevin Durant from here. So this is the season. You do not want to lose the season.
No, definitely not. At that age, you never know.
Yeah. And I would not do anything with Kyrie until you know what's happening with Durant. Until you have a trade in place, there's a decent chance he's back on Brooklyn next year and everything just gets worked out.
Yeah.
Nick's third quarter writes, where do you rank Brunson among other NBA point guards?
What would you say, 8?
No. I was going to say 13, 14. I don't have the name of the list of players in front of me, but I think he's around middle of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, I would put, obviously, Steph, Doncic, Lillard.
There's a bunch of guys ahead of him. Come on. Let's
it's 4.
I mean, you could put Garland ahead of him.
Maybe is Garland? Garland's more of a 2, right?
No, I think Garland's their point guard. He operated like their point guard last year. Sexton's really more of the 2 there.
Shea.
There's a lot of guys that are ahead of him. Trey.
Yeah, I said that. I don't know. I would put him ahead. Would you say Chris Paul at 39 years old?
Yeah. So you're right. So I'd rather have Brunson right at this age than Chris Paul at that age.
I'm looking at a list and Brunson isn't even in the top 20, but I put him ahead of Fox, Lowry, Conley.
Yeah, guys are a little bit past their prime. Yeah, that makes sense. Fox really hasn't been a great shooter. It's also Brunson hasn't been the starting point guard for a full season. Not even on the Knicks. He hasn't been a starting point guard for a full season yet.
Right.
So I think he's an above average point guard. When he's played without Doncic, he's looked good. Even with Doncic, he's looked good. Where he ranks, I think it doesn't really matter. Like, does it really matter where he ranks? Like, are we getting at like if you're
I think
a top
people
10,
are just
that's great.
justifying like, oh, he's the 16th highest paid point guard. Is he the 16th best point guard?
I would say he's probably around there.
Yeah.
Like that's a totally fair.
Yeah.
Mitch is the 17th highest paid center. He's probably around there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's fair.
You know, the Knicks have only. I don't remember the last time the Knicks have had a point guard that wasn't bottom five in the NBA. Usually they have the 30th best point guard in the NBA. They usually have the 32nd best point guard in the NBA.
Right.
They're usually like teams that have backups that are better than who the Knicks have. So this is a huge step forward, and we'll see how Brunson develops. But it should be a lot of development with him being also the starter. Lord Daver writes, at the end of the season, will the Knicks fans believe Brunson is our best player? Over under 5 assists per game.
Yes, and over.
I think it has to be over. Is there a place I can make the bet on that? The 5 assists a game. If he's not over 5 assists a game, something's gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, he averaged 7.4 without Doncic on the court.
I would have to assume he's at least a 7 assist guy going forward, and I'm assuming probably like 16 to 18 points a game, which will be very, very solid numbers for a Knicks point guard, for any point guard really.
Yep.
Facebook. Wait.
And Rob said nominated for biggest disappointment the Pippen, Barkley, Hakeem Rockets, but they were all at the very, very end of their career at that point.
Yeah, I think the same thing is also the people talk about the Lakers when they added Malone and who's the other guy they added? It was Malone and when they lost to the Pistons.
Gary Payton,
Gary Payton. But yeah, ended their careers, and they lost to a very good Detroit team in the finals. It wasn't like the Nets made the finals.
Right.
On Instagram, Los Dude writes, he played well off the bench, filling in minutes for Jokic last season. Should the New York Knicks pursue DeMarcus Cousins for a vet minimum deal?
I don't think they need him, really. I mean, then you're just not going to play Sims. Like I don't think Cousins gives you that much right now that they need.
Yeah, I don't see a need at all for. It's also he hasn't really. I mean, I didn't watch him that much last season, but he hasn't looked good in years. Like the injuries really took a lot out of him.
Yeah.
Isaiah Hartenstein sounds really interesting. Sims is a very interesting guy. Like, so we liked everything we saw from Sims. I don't see a need to bring Cousins here. And Cousins, and anything might be either is your center or is your power forward. We're kind of locked up with both positions.
Yeah.
Rob writes on Facebook, if the Knicks were to trade for Donovan Mitchell, what is the most you're willing to give up?
I guess 3 firsts, and then like I don't know. I'd want Randle or Fournier thrown in there.
Hey, on a different note, if the Nets said they'd make the trade with the Knicks, what would you give up for Durant?
Probably the same.
I would do 4 first for him.
Yeah, if 1 or 2 of them are protected first.
I would go all in for Durant, even though it's also kind of stupid. Like there should be a discount for trading for a guy who just like asks out like the last 2 situations he's been in.
Well, there is a discount. That's why he's not traded right now. I mean,
you mean yeah?
If he wasn't such a head case, there would have been an amazing offer, and he would have been traded already. But everyone has pause with a 34-year-old with injury history that is now asked out, and seems like a head case. Like,
well,
there's not a huge market for that right now.
So people are also saying the Rudy Gobert trade messes things up because the trade for Rudy Gobert was so absurd. So many picks were given up for him, and now Durant is a much, much better player than Rudy Gobert. So the trade has to be even more absurd.
It's situational. Minnesota is going all in now. They think they could win next year.
Do you think that was a smart move on Minnesota's part?
I don't, but I get the logic. Like,
why do you get the logic? That's a lot of picks to give up for him.
It is, but if you say like we want to take advantage of Towns' prime, which we don't know how much longer that's going to be, and we made the playoffs last year, and we can add one of the better defenders in the NBA. Let's just go for it and hope it works out because the picks aren't going to be that good if even if they don't win, the picks they're giving up are going to be in the 20s. So who cares?
It's also that people have said like, well, Anthony Edwards, I think he's only 20 still. He's turning 21 soon. And you're like, well, he's so young. He's so far from his prime and he's already developing. Maybe this is too early to go all in. On the other hand, players ask out all the time now. Like this might be the new thing where a guy's just like, I don't want to play here anymore. So maybe Anthony Edwards is on the Timberwolves the next 10 seasons, or maybe he's only going to be here for a couple of seasons. You have to impress him while he's here by going all in now.
Well, then you never know when a guy's prime is. Remember Tyreek Evans? His rookie year was his prime.
That's true. Remember Landry Fields? His prime was like half of a season on his rookie year. Yeah. The Hawks general manager. Those are all the questions. Were there any more email questions?
No, that's it. So we're NY Knicks Podcast on everything: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're posting. We're active on all those. There's links to our Discord.
Do you think the Knicks win more games if they trade Randle or if they keep Randle?
It's so hard to tell because it depends which Randle shows up.
So, what are the strengths of Randle? What are the positives about him?
Positives are when he's on, he's a force on offense.
He is down low. He's a big man. He can rebound. He's tough to stop down low, right?
Yeah.
He's a pretty good outside shooter. At times he's a pretty good outside shooter, and times he's not a pretty good outside shooter. I mean, do you think the fact do you think he'll be happy to have some of the offensive load taken away from him, or upset with it?
I don't know what to think about him anymore. I don't know if he's going to pout because he's not the number one guy, or I don't know if he's going to be like, oh, this is great. I have somebody feeding me the ball where I want it. I have no idea.
I mean, he's arguably the most talented player on the Knicks.
What I do know is 5 games into the season, we're going to know.
You think 5 games into the season we'll know?
Yeah. Yeah, if he's pouting and pulling that crap, yelling at people, slapping his teammates, if he's doing that within the first couple of games, they're screwed.
I don't think you're gonna know either way. I think it's gonna be more 15, 20 games in. I think the beginning of the season, everyone's happy coming into the start of the season. In theory, there's a little bit of a honeymoon period to start the year. Yeah. And also sometimes the Knicks there've been seasons where the first 5 games the Knicks are putting up amazing stats, then they fall off a cliff.
True. Well, we'll find out soon. We're out of time, so thank you for listening, everybody. Thanks for joining in the chat.
Last 30-second thing: the Knicks, the summer league is starting this Friday, and the big names in the summer league are not. I guess there's Trevor Keels, who's drafted in the first round, and the 42nd pick. I don't know how good he's going to be, but Miles McBride and Jericho Sims are playing and Quentin Grimes are all playing in summer league. You would think McBride and Grimes in particular would have awesome summer leagues, right?
You would think, yeah.
So I expect them to really and Sims. The Knicks will win the summer league. That's my prediction.
All right. And the Shadow wants to know what the likelihood of Melo coming back on a vet minimum deal is.
Hell no.
I'd rather not. There's rumors.
Hell no. Why would that be a good idea?
I don't know. He's just going to take minutes away from the young guys, and everyone's going to complain. So,
right. It's not if he wants to come back and sign with the Knicks for one day and retire as a Knick. That'd be great. I'd love to go to that game and cheer him on as he retires. But is he really going to help us win?
Yeah, I don't think so. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll be back soon.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end.